Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the MarketSite studio in Times Square, New York City, we have Dr. Merav Ozer. She is a blockchain and cryptocurrency expert. We're going to discuss the legislative reaction to PayPal's announcement of a U.S. stablecoin. Merav, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Good to be here.
You got it. And you know, PayPal in August, they announced that they're going to have a U.S. dollar-backed stablecoin to help facilitate payments at its latest edition of its crypto services. While the crypto ecosystem embraced the announcement, some legislators were quick to criticize the effort. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, we all know that there's certain legislators in Washington that we know that what their thoughts about it. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be PayPal or it's going to be any other company. We know their sentiment. Whether it's Waters, we know that she's always been very, less positive about everything in the space of Web3 and crypto and all of this. We know that. So I'm not surprised that she was, one of the first, to say, that they should have waited, for the legislations. It's they putting the investors and the public at danger. So it's kind of like echoes, whatever we heard when Meta. Back in the days, what Facebook, was asking, but it's not the same thing. I mean, back then, also the landscape was different. It was a different type of stable coin. It's not the same thing. This is, really pegged one-on-one only to the dollar. That one was supposed to be a basket. It's a tech company. This is, regulated company in the financial industry. They follow financial regulatory already. So, and also Brown, another Democrat who was, equating PayPal to Terra Luna, saying, we all know the stable coins, can go to nothing. And it's like, it's like apples and oranges. I mean, because the mechanism of Terra Luna is not the mechanism of PayPal. Terra Luna is not even, regulated was never regulated. So all of this, they come up with this criticism just because this is their inherent, objection to everything that has to do with Web3.
So, but that's an important distinction to make because the PayPal, stablecoins have been around for almost a decade, right?
Yeah.
PayPal's launch, though, it is in a regulated wrapper.
Right, exactly.
Because it goes through the trust company.
Exactly.
Right.
So it is issued by Paxos, and Paxos is also a regulated company, with in New York, through all the regulatory, licenses and everything. And PayPal itself PayPal is a 10-year company, a senior company that has been around for 20 years. And it knows what it's doing in the space of everything in payments. So it's not like, a crypto company or any startup that never done payments, now wants to go into payment. They know what they're doing. So, and they know the regulations that needs to happen. And they even say that they're going to work with regulators. And not to mention that, which I like, there was an interview with the CTO of PayPal who says, we're not in the business of payments, we're in the business of trust. So that kind of statement coming from, senior executives at PayPal tells you something. And we know that they're in the business of trust. We know that they're going to work with regulators. We know that they're not going to do something against us, because, they're kind of like a startup who's excited about new innovations. And they are about innovations, but they also very much understand what regulations is all about and the importance of regulations.
Right.
And
well, they certainly are an incumbent in the payment space. I mean, they essentially developed payments, right? So what do you think PayPal sees as a future of payments?
Well, I mean, if you go to the website, they say that they are at the forefront of innovation. So in my mind, when I see that PayPal is now getting into Web3, it means that they know this is like the next step of where innovation is going. And this is like a great signal for everyone to get excited that this is probably where we're going right now. So everything is going to be tokenized, and there's already a sentiment about tokenization, whether from Swift and JP Morgan and BlackRock and Citadel and Fidelity. I mean, all of those, big organizations, which are, as I said, incumbent, are getting excited about Web3 and tokenization. So we know that we're going that route. And also there was a statement from one of the executives. I think it's he has like a long name, but he's like the vice president that is responsible for everything in Web3 and etc. Fernandez de Puente, I think that's his name.
I'm not going to try to attempt to butcher that last name.
I don't want to, forgive me if I butcher the name. I mean, I'm sorry, but he said, that stablecoin is like the killer app of Web3. And he said that they couldn't sit it out. They had to get involved, and they also know that they are the conduit, PayPal between Web3 and fiat. So they know that they have that that capacity to do that because they have already established themselves in the payment system. They already have like a huge customer base and merchandise base. So they kind of like paving the way to the mainstream, because now you can, if you have a wallet, a PayPal wallet, you can really use, get involved with everything that has to do with Web3 and also communicate with fiat money.
What does the financial industry sentiment look like right now for digital assets in Web3?
It seems like, that there's a lot of, we can see that the financial industry is very much looking into more and more utilizations of Web3 and tokenizations. I mean, we have BlackRock, Fidelity, and others who are now working with the SEC to get an ETF, Bitcoin ETF. So, and they will not have done it if they didn't think that they did their homework. They always do their homework before they do something, because all this incumbent, unlike startups, they know what they're doing because they know that they have a lot to lose. And also there's an incentive of we hear about Citadel, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab is also trying to get the approval of regulators to create some kind of a blockchain-based exchange, and we already know. So they're probably working with regulators on that here in the U.S. We know that the London Stock Exchange is now also announced that they are working with the UK regulators to work on something similar. We know that JP Morgan now is working with regulators to see how their already token that they have, which is JPM coin, can be utilized for cross-border transactions. They're working on that, and SWIFT also just finished a successful pilot that shows the interoperability of payments.
With Chainlink.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly, with Chainlink.
Yes.
Chainlink, which is a U.S. company, and they worked with major banks in the U.S. and nationally. One of them, I think, is Mellon, Bank of
Bank New York.
Yeah, New York Mellon. Yeah, well, one of them. So you see that all of this is happening. I mean, we hear the news like every week, here and there. So there's a good sentiment from the incumbents, as we can see, the institutional financial, that have been around for a long time, who knows regulations, who know how to work with regulators, and they will not do anything if they didn't think that the regulators are now becoming open to that. And in fact, the McHenry was the chair of the finance committee, the House Finance Committee. He was basically supporting the PayPal announcement, when they said that they're launching it. And there's already, approval of a Stablecoin Act that was approved, by the committee, but still, it has to go through the, the House and approval. So yeah, it might get, the objections of the Democrats. I would not be surprised, but hopefully
it'll become more mainstream.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Rob, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
My pleasure.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.